the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host, live from somewhere in New York. I always forget. Joey, No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy. Katona, New York.
Katona.
My hometown.
That's right.
That's right.
Your hometown.
Here I am, back home. How's everything there in Cincinnati?
It's good, man. It's like we're ditching spring. It's just like warm shit here. Like
Weather's 80.
It was 80 yesterday.
Yesterday it was in the 70s here, but then after I watched the Knicks game, before we had hibachi night at my sister's, I went to see my nephew's lacrosse game. All of a sudden, like high 70s, I was in like black jeans and a black t-shirt. I was like, oh, I'm a little hot. And then we had hibachi night at my sister's, and everybody was taking like sake blasts from the water gun. The guy brought like a super soaker filled with sake.
I'll tell you what, what you're describing is like white people on steroids. White people love hibachi.
Yeah.
And a water gun with booze is some white people shit.
Yeah. Did you see the picture that I posted on my
I didn't. I'll look, but I'm laughing thinking about it.
I'm going to send you right now. So I ended up going and taking pictures of everybody as they were getting blasted with hibachi, and then I put it in like a little, I put them all together. You're going to love this. This is like peak white people shit.
Yeah, things white people like, hibachi.
But my brother, you'll see the top left picture of my brother. He was out at my nephew's lacrosse game the whole day. He has the worst like sunburn hat tan I've ever seen.
Bro. I mean, you realize with your brother, we could really create some sexual innuendo with this shot.
Oh yeah,
right?
Oh yeah, I know.
All these shots,
hitting him, just getting blasted.
Did he, dude? Look at that tan line.
All right.
Is he just hurting today? I mean, he looks like a lobster.
He's like, so he got a little sun today. And he's wearing like sunglasses. He had a hat on backwards all day. I go, you know why they put a brim on a hat, right, buddy?
A little. Like I feel pain looking at his picture.
Yeah. And I put that up on my Instagram story, and everybody's like, Jesus, Mike, you throw on some sunscreen, dog.
Can I still access that? People want to see it.
I think so.
Let me see. Like, can I?
I mean, you could access it on Instagram for sure. You're saying people want to see it on the
Oh yeah, okay, I'll pull it up. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. I think I can pull it.
Just as the guy went around with the super soaker filled with sake, I just took the same picture of everybody getting blasted.
You guys got to see this. I mean, look at his brothers. Oh, why won't it let me? I mean, look at Mikey's. I mean, it's tough to see. Damn it, we lost it. Whatever.
Can't you even just throw it up from the way I just texted it to you?
The problem is sharing. The one fault of StreamYard is
screen sharing. Well, anyway, it's on my Instagram at Joe Prano. I'll throw it in a comment under our podcast episode or something. So many ways to share on Substack. Maybe I'll put it in the notes section on Substack.
How about that post I did on Substack from our 100th
Wild.
episode?
Wild.
You know how your phone pops up and it'll say on this
9 years
date?
ago today.
It was 9 years ago on this weekend. We just done our 100th episode, and we're in front of like a Sideshow Network backdrop.
So fun.
Sideshow Network. How much money do
Great.
you think they lost?
It's a great question.
I mean, that's just
and what's amazing is, Andy, I think we've talked about it. I've definitely talked about it with other people. It's like they were early.
they were early.
Imagine that, dude. You know how much money Theo Vaughn's podcast makes now?
Well, here's the funny thing. Yeah, so I don't know if we've talked about it. So Theo Vaughn had a podcast, but that was before his podcast now.
Right.
He would come on a lot of times after us. That was with the guy who worked at TMZ.
Right.
But you're right.
But just like all of that shit, all those things breaking, like, and so many levity clients. They just needed to hang on. Like, you're right. They probably lost money, but they lost money because they refused to continue losing money.
Well, we weren't making any money. Like
No.
we were making no money. It was a state-of-the-art studio, though. I mean, remember that studio?
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
But think about it. They had their staff. Remember all those girls up there?
Yeah.
Like, they had guys like Sean who would call himself a producer.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a dick, or Maria. It's like,
But every time Sean would do our podcast, something would go wrong. We're like, hey, we actually produced the podcast. Could you try not being the anti-producer?
you know what's funny? Talk about how quickly technology goes. And we are at an age that it accelerates so fast, like in 10 years versus, let's say, from 1980 to 1990. The acceleration doesn't even compare to 2015 and now. But anyway, I don't know if you remember, when I got the hotline for calls, it was, how are we going to play this?
Yeah.
And that's where Sean always messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. He couldn't figure out how to play calls.
Which, by the way, same hotline, 310-359-8365. And we do have some good calls today. But yeah, it's crazy. But one thing that has stayed the same, Dirtballs, and we're just going to get into it. From 2015 until now, Joe's hatred for the city and the citizens of Philadelphia.
Well, Andy, I don't know if you've been following, but the new trend for angry Philadelphia fans, and this might be my favorite place it's ever gotten. And I think we all know that this is not going to happen because they're all the softest baby back bitch keyboard warriors. I'm now on the daily getting challenged to a fight by a Philadelphia fan. Philadelphia fans.
You kind of cut out there real quick. So on the daily, they want to fight.
The Philadelphia fans are telling me they're going to come to my show and fight me. So one is expected at my show at the Stand tonight. Frantic at the Stand, 9 p.m. Tomorrow I'm doing Comedy Juice at Gotham. Supposedly a fan's going to come there and fight me. Wednesday, once again, back at the Stand. That's apparently a convenient day for another teenage Philadelphia fan who may or may not get out of his mom's basement to come fight me. And I'm like, guys, not only please do this while I'm on stage. Like, come try to fight me on stage.
That'll go viral.
Me beating a meatball hoagie, a gas station meatball hoagie out of your face is going to make me the biggest TikTok star in history. Just me stomping you like Knicks in 5, Knicks in 5. Me doing to a teenage 76ers fan what Knicks fans do to Joel Embiid jerseys in Philly post-game. Can we start before all of the talk that we're going to have about this game and this series, Joel Embiid's fraudulent career, the chokingness, the process, before we get into all that, can we just talk about how one of the saddest, most pathetic sports fan bases in history let their entire stadium get taken over by Knicks fans? Knicks fans took over.
I know.
The Wells Fargo Center.
That's wild. So what do you think it was, 50-50?
I mean, it was at least. I would say it was. I say it was.
I think we're gonna have to get a different internet connection, Prano. We keep losing you.
All right, I'm gonna switch back to the other one.
Okay. So yeah, it was pretty wild for anybody who watched it live as Joe's trying to do that.
As I switch
Obviously,
back to the other one.
a huge contingent of.
I mean, I would say it was at least 50-50, wouldn't you? Based on
yeah, it was like from a viewer, TV viewer, I'd say at least 50-50.
If it wasn't, it was 60-40. What's that?
Knicks fans seemed like they were louder.
Oh yeah. But also just imagine that happening. It would never happen in New York.
So, obviously I read some things on it and they said one of the great, obviously it's close. It's about 2 hours.
Yeah.
But what also was very beneficial to the Knicks fans is how expensive it is to see a game at Madison Square Garden versus it's a lot cheaper if you go to Philly to watch the Knicks game.
This is a method I've taken in LA the last couple of years when it comes to concerts. Like I'll go to the Santa Barbara Bowl, I'll go see a show in Vegas because, dude, I can go spend a night at a beautiful beachside hotel in Santa Barbara and go to the Santa Barbara Bowl, which is a better venue, as cool as the Hollywood Bowl is. The Hollywood Bowl is awesome, but Santa Barbara Bowl is like one of the great outdoor amphitheaters in the world. I can go spend a night at a hotel and go see a show at the Santa Barbara Bowl and have like a little vacation.
Yeah.
For the same price, I can go to see a show at the Hollywood Bowl, not fight traffic. And I'm like, this is exactly what, I mean, it's going to be, I checked it, by the way. Do you want to know what it costs to get into the game for Game 5 on Tuesday? Madison Square Garden, into the game. $471 was the lowest ticket. Get in. Philly this weekend, I bet you could get it. I bet you could get decent seats for $200.
I bet you're right.
So Knicks fans are like, yeah, we'll get on the turnpike, go down to Philly. And what a magical experience that must have been to see a guy who is so quickly climbing the ranks as one of the great Knicks of all time. Jalen Brunson goes for 47, takes over the game all on his own. And I don't know if you saw this. I'll share this with you after the show. Did you watch the game, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the whole thing when they had that review and then they kept going back to Brunson getting in Embiid's face because of the little elbow on the way through the lane?
Sure.
He's like, why did you do that? Why are you doing that? Like, what the fuck is your problem, dude? It's just a cheap shot. I'm just coming through the lane and you're just cheap shotting me with an elbow. Knicks down 10 at that point. Literally. Jalen Brunson was like, all right, you're going to take a cheap shot on me through the lane? I'm going to take over this game and butt fuck your franchise back to the disgraceful shit dump fucking every year lottery pick that you guys deserve to be. The process, you just fucking elbowed me and literally ended the process. The process is now over. And I think we've edited the process 15 times on this show. But I mean, down 10 and Jalen Brunson just takes over and Joel Embiid disappears. Joel Embiid purposely injures. We haven't even done a show, by the way, since Thursday, since Joel Embiid alligator rolled and purposely injured Mitchell Robinson, then gets Hartenstein into foul trouble in Game 4 in the third quarter. So now the Knicks' only two bigs are out. Joel Embiid gets guarded by OG Anunoby down the stretch and scores one fourth quarter point on a free throw. What a fucking clown, dude. He did it to himself, too.
Do you give the Sixers? I know you're not going to give them any chance to come back.
How would you give the Sixers this? Dude, the Knicks had no center in the game. Josh Hart's out rebounding Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid scoring 1 point. Joel Embiid's already taking shots at the fans. Joel Embiid's talking about his Bell's palsy. Joel
Embiid had Bell's palsy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Joel Embiid has Bell's palsy.
Like he still has it?
Yeah. Yep.
What do you mean he still has it? Like I had it, but it went away.
Man, he like just got it.
He just got Bell's palsy.
Yeah. Probably from being stressed out from having to face the Knicks in the first round. He's probably just overwhelmed with anxiety that he's about to be exposed as the most fraudulent MVP winner, maybe in the history of basketball.
In the history?
Well, listen, here's why it's fraudulent.
Who's more fraudulent?
What's that?
Like who would be more fraudulent MVP?
I don't know. Jokic lost the MVP after 2 years of winning it in a row to Joel Embiid, and then Jokic goes on and wins a championship, and Joel Embiid continuously can't get out of the second round. Joel Embiid, free throw merchant, choke artist, loves to dominate when it doesn't matter. No one better at like stockpiling MVP stats in the middle of January, only to literally disappear. The dude couldn't score in the fourth quarter. He wasn't guarded by a big. He was guarded by a 6'8" small forward. Couldn't score. After, by the way, I mean, and we talked about this, Andy, and listen, I don't complain about refs, as I've said, and because I just think unless there's some sort of unless it's the end of the Saints-Rams NFC Championship game, what are we doing? Bad calls happen, right? But for Joel Embiid not to get kicked out of that game, not to be suspended for, I mean, in my opinion, a play, and I said this to many people, if you think that there's any like reality where grabbing and twisting a player's legs while you're on the floor and they're jumping makes sense, you've never played 1 second of organized basketball. There's just literally absolutely no reason in the world except trying to hurt somebody that you want to like shove his leg because you're trying to stop him from making the basket and give him a foul or something. Okay. To grab and twist, that's just your brain disconnecting. And that's just you going full Draymond. It's just tempers flaring. It's just you trying to hurt a guy. And the idea that not only did no suspension happen, but the NBA actively removing all video compilations of his just like extremely dirty play was unbelievable. Talk about a guy literally being protected by the league. That means, Andy, that is literal protection by the NBA.
Why were they removing photos and video?
Because we also remember when Draymond kicked LeBron in the balls. It's like I don't know. I don't even recall. I don't think Draymond was thrown out of that game, right? Like he ended up playing the rest of that game, and then they review it, and then he gets suspended. So in this situation, obviously anybody who sees the video goes, the only possible thing that happens here is he was trying to injure Mitchell Robinson. That's literally the only realistic explanation. And so then the whole internet's like, what are we doing here? Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. And the NBA is just like all day getting tagged. All day. Tag. Like, explain it. Explain it. What is the possible explanation for this? And they're just like, we're sick of this. And then people started being like, this isn't just like an isolated incident. This guy has a 1,000 incident highlight reel of him doing dirty shit, including into yesterday's game after the NBA is taking down his dirty plays, he's still doing dirty plays. He's still forearm checking Jalen Brunson on the way through the lane. He's still stomping on Josh Hart when he's on the ground. He's doing this shit today. So the NBA was like, well, listen, we have a somewhat, passionate fan base in Philly. And Nick Sixers is good. And we're going to make so much more money if this goes back to Game 5 in Madison Square Garden. The viewership is massive. We have to protect our fraudulent MVP. We can't let the whole internet go, oh, the NBA is scumbags, so just remove the video. Removing the video. What other videos have the NBA taken down lately? I have a feeling if you want to see Anthony Edwards fucking hammer dunking last night, you can find it right now.
It's everywhere.
You can find Jalen Brunson with the falling to his right, lefty backhand shot dagger on Joel Embiid.
Yeah, they were removing. So the NBA, they were kind of taking a page out of the Major League Baseball's playbook where they would remove it because of copyright content. We all know the NBA doesn't care about that. They love things as they should. It's free publicity. It's free marketing, things being shared.
Yeah. So they're just protecting the fraudulent worst MVP of all time, Joel Embiid, and his fucking dirty play. And guess what? Good. So tell him it's okay. Let him come into Game 4 and do it. Let him come into Game 4 and throw a no reason other than to hurt somebody, elbow through the lane. You just set off Jalen Brunson. And then he took his dick and he put it on your fucking forehead. Jalen Brunson teabagged Joel Embiid, probably into free agency. Whichever team ends up with Joel Embiid next year, first of all, you're not going anywhere because he's a fraud. But for those 3 months in October and November and December where you're like, we have a former MVP and you love life, just know it's because Jalen Brunson took out his penis and mushroom stamped Joel Embiid.
What would you like to say to the Sixers and Philly fans, Joe?
I mean, really, what is there to say? You guys know that you're frauds. That's why you don't go to games. That's why you sell tickets. You're not going. Knicks fans know we're legit. You guys wanted us. And you got us. And now you're down 3-1. And Maxi's somehow better than Jalen Brunson. But Joel Embiid needs help. So Joel Embiid needs help, even though his second best player is better than the guy who's single-handedly beating you. Unreal. We're tougher. We're better. And we actually have we have a city with sports soul. You're the chokingest fucking city in history. The process is over.
It's been over.
Enjoy Joel Embiid bailing. Nick Nurse is a bitch. Philly fans are bitches. Not a single one of you is going to come to any of these shows. And if you do, I'll Jalen Brunson your ass. Come up on stage. I know what you'll do. If in the chance that you do somehow get out of mom's basement and put down your fucking Xbox controller, I know what you do. You'll come and you'll sneak attack my legs because you're a bitch like Joel Embiid. And you'll lose.
I'd put 0% chance somebody shows up to fight you.
Of course.
0% chance.
Of course. But if you wanted to, I'm at the Stand tonight, Monday. I'm at Comedy Juice at Gotham Tuesday. I'm at the Stand Wednesday. Finding me is easy. I put my literal schedule online.
You know what's funny about all this? This is like early Twitter days. Remember when people used to say that to me too?
Yeah.
They'd want to fight me.
Yeah.
They'd say they were going to show up in Venice. This is like 2014, 2015 Twitter days. And I would just put my address, like, cool, 1720 Pacific Avenue, Venice, 90291. That's my address.
This is all the way back to when the process started.
It really is, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are teenagers, though. I think my suspicion is it's grown men that have too much time in their hands.
You think somebody this afternoon's like, "Hon, I'm getting in the car. I'm driving to New York City. I'm gonna go fight Joe Prano." She's like, "You have to you have to mow the lawn."
I don't think it's somebody that has a significant other. I
Oh,
don't think
okay.
it's that. I think it's a disgruntled, angry
Truck driver, some guy working at Wawa, the guy behind the counter at Wawa.
Yeah, I'll say I don't think they're a truck driver. That's a you have to be a pretty responsible person, and that's a that's a good job. I think it's yes, a guy who's maybe down on his luck and hasn't had too many breaks.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the poor rural Pennsylvanian who's standing in a Wawa holding his 6-pack of Yingling and his fucking tasty cakes, waiting for his waiting for his fucking foot-long American with extra fucking pickles to be done. He's just trying to get back to his wife and his kids with his gas station sandwich. He's trying to bring home he's trying to bring home the family a big bag of gas station sandwiches. And he can't get them because the guy behind the counter is angrily telling me he's going to fight me on Twitter. He's like, "Sir, what are you doing back there? Can I get my bag of gas station sandwiches for my family?" I'm just tweeting at Joe Prano from my burner account. I mean, Andy, let's get back to the basketball of it.
Okay.
How impressed are you with what Jalen Brunson's done?
It's I like the career arc because it's a great story. Again, I had watched him a lot at Nova. Obviously, he was a winner there. Not just individually, but won a title. Then you have a second round direct. He goes in the second round because he's small, he's undersized, but he's very savvy and skill. He's got the skills. I liked how they were showing his footwork a lot during the game yesterday. Richard Jefferson, right, was highlighting that.
Yep.
How quickly he moves, how efficient he is with his feet. And he's just blossomed into a star. It's a great story. It's pretty crazy.
Josh Hart 0 for yesterday.
But had how many rebounds? 15, 16?
17 rebounds. No, amazing. Josh Hart is truly he's the Josh Hart and soul of the New York Knicks. He is. This team is not who they are without Josh Hart. And everybody's talked about what OG has brought to the team and, what Dante DiVincenzo brought and Jalen brought something to the star. But truly, I mean, I think this team went from being just a collection of guys to a true basketball. Josh Hart does it all. But I'm just saying, 0 for yesterday. Dante DiVincenzo has been really, really cold since the big shot in game 2. He had a nice back-to-back threes during the run yesterday. A couple quick, confident catch and shoots that were huge. Deuce McBride came off the bench and with a little spurt. Love Deuce McBride's kind of instant offense off the bench, especially when the Jalen Brunson has to go to the bench, having Deuce McBride to come in. But yesterday the Knicks scored 97 points, and Jalen Brunson scored 47 of them. OG had a couple nice dunks, a couple big, mid-range shots, but Hartenstein's fouling out essentially. Precious Achua can't make a layup. The Knicks had a lack of offense yesterday, and Jalen Brunson put the team on his back, and it's insane. He's not big, but he's also not Allen Iverson was a freak athlete. So he made up for the lack of size by being a freak. Jalen Brunson is small and so goddamn crafty. I've never seen the craftsmanship is unreal. And anybody who criticized the signing, how couldn't you? You're has the guy ever dunked in the history of his career? I was
gonna say you were critical. Let's be fair.
That's what I'm saying.
You were very critical of the signing at the time.
It seemed like a lot of money.
What was it, $100 million for 3 years?
Turns out it's the best deal of all time.
Is that what it was? $100 million for 3 years?
It's the best free agent signing. Not maybe in terms of what it did for like how it elevated a team. Obviously, LeBron James goes to the Heat. That's the craziest free agent signing ever, you know? But in terms of like, he wasn't a free agent signing that signed for the max. Value wise, the cost and then how much the cost to like value, it's the greatest free agent signing of all time. It truly is. It's the greatest free agent signing in the history of the NBA when you look at what his signing meant to the Knicks and what it cost them. This is not a 3-year max deal. Now he's going to get a max deal. Duh. But 3 years, $100 million to completely turn around the Knicks franchise. One of the great franchises, like in terms of where they play, the market, the history.
Yeah. I mean, so far, obviously they got to close the deal. And then we'll see what a round 2 would bring if they close the deal. But it's definitely been a great return on investment so far for both the Knicks and him. Now, obviously, he's going to get a lot more money. It is crazy how he's really just blossomed into a star. I found myself, I was just looking at his stats, just going over his career. And I was looking last night and just the growth. The only thing I could kind of compare it to, which is ironic because also he was a lefty, but it was more of a quick flash in the pan sort of thing. Isaiah Thomas. That would be like my only comp that I was thinking of.
Yeah, but also like not a comp because Jalen Brunson like was 3rd in the league in scoring this year and was.
But I think Isaiah Thomas was like top 5 in the league.
Yeah, he was up there, but also, I mean,
what he's done for the team is different.
47 points in a playoff game.
Yeah, that's true.
Most, I think, 40-point games in a season in Knicks history. Like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. And now you have like Sixers fans saying, "Oh, if Embiid ever had help, if Embiid was ever healthy," it's like, dude, Jalen Brunson scored 50% of his team's points yesterday.
Oh, I hate that. It's the basketball people are just all over the map.
Yeah,
they really are. Like the
Jimmy Butler was with Joel Embiid.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these guys, they're all over the map. Kobe never had help. Embiid, but then you see Jimmy Butler puts people on, takes teams to the finals,
and played with Joel Embiid
and played with him.
And then and the other thing off the map, I mean, after Game 3, it was literally the 50% of NBA Twitter was Maxi's better than Brunson, and you're like, so Maxi's better than Brunson, but Embiid is losing to Brunson, even though he's not as good as Embiid's second player. So does he need help or does he not need help? We're just tougher. We're just better. We're a better coach team. We care more. We play better as a team. We have a bigger star. We have a better player. We have the best player in the series.
Yeah.
We have a better coach. We have the best player. Better chemistry. Better fans.
You think you're a better coach than Nick Nurse?
Dude, Nick Nurse.
He's won a title.
Yeah, but Nick Nurse is like, I mean, you talk about just the game yesterday. Let's take the back and forth of the first couple games. Dude, Nick Nurse at the end of the game yesterday, putting Joel Embiid out on the wing, giving him the ball in late game situations. The Knicks not doubling him until he at least put the ball on the floor because they didn't want him hitting the open guy. Not doubling him, having a strategy of, I'm going to put OG Anunoby on Joel Embiid, and I'm not going to double him until he tries to make a move. And shutting him down for 1 point in the fourth quarter. Like Nick Nurse, you can't figure out a way to get your dude a couple of easy buckets to get him going in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I just think, I don't know. That'd be an interesting discussion, the better coach.
Well, he's
Well,
not coaching him in this series, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we have a lot of series I'd like to kind of go over here.
Let's fucking go.
We haven't talked enough about the Timberwolves, and I mean Anthony Edwards. This is kind of his like national or worldwide, whatever you want to call it, coming out.
Yep.
I mean, he was already like a budding star, but it's different. You play like this in the playoffs.
Not to go back to the Knicks, but this is just quickly, and also to shout out again. I've shouted out the Roommates podcast on this show a couple times. They had Clyde on the last episode. Walt Clyde Frazier, voice of the New York Knicks, longtime voice of the New York Knicks. And he said on the podcast, regular season is where you make your name. Playoffs are where you make your fame. Anthony Edwards, people know him as a great NBA player now from what he's done. But the casuals that don't watch until they tune into playoffs, the leap, not just into the stratosphere that includes the casuals, but the leap from the people who know he was a great player. Dude, I said it going into this. I said, would we be shocked if it's a tough series? And it's a great example. It's like playing a team with vets, with, Kevin Durant, with Devin Booker. They have the ability to go up, blah, 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 blah. Those guys are going to do what they do. And are the lights too big? Are you too young? Are you too whatever? Anthony Edwards is like, nah, I'm good, dude. And like, it's not a criticism to say that that's going to happen to a young player in his first or second or third playoffs. But superstars, it typically doesn't happen. And it didn't happen to him. Fucking swept their ass. Leaps into another stratosphere where you're like, is he the best two guard in basketball?
Well, and not only that, they sweep the Suns, and the Suns had their little super team of Beal, Durant, and Booker, and it almost puts a stamp on Durant's career, man. Like it closes the book, kind of.
Well, Andy, I hate to keep coming back here, but there's all this talk of where Joel Embiid's going to go. And when I did the live broadcast, it was all, oh, you better be nice to Joel Embiid. He's going to want to be a Knick next year. I do not want the biggest fraudulent MVP in history. I don't want fucking old Sugarfoot. Go somewhere. Take your Shirley Temples to fucking Charlotte or wherever the fuck, some trash ass basketball town, and go ride off into the fucking
Charlotte catching strays.
Go ride off into the sunset of fucking nobody gives a fuckville. Kevin Durant, though, we do have to upgrade the 4. You want to come, hat in hand, apologize for no one saying no one cares about the Knicks, tuck you a little snake tail between your legs, be Jalen Brunson's second banana. You want to come to New York? You want to come with the Robin Hood Disney gif, the fucking blind cup seeking a little change?
Which is ironic because he could play the snake in that Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Remember that snake in that Robin Hood cartoon?
Yeah. He's welcome. Come. You're welcome. You can come upgrade the 4 for us. You can come be Jalen Brunson's second banana. You can come be the tallest Robin in history.
But don't you find it interesting? I want to talk about the Suns for a minute. Obviously, we're talking about Anthony Edwards and how he's blossoming into a star.
Here's something I've been pushing forever, and I understand he was also not the lead guy. But the fact that Anthony Edwards has gone this long and no one insists, I insist on calling him Goose as a nickname. Why are we not calling him Goose? How is Goose not his nickname?
He's like a black NBA player. He's not a Top Gun white dude.
The first time I heard this guy's name, I was like, is his nickname Goose? How is his nickname not Goose? Yeah, basketball Goose.
Basketball Goose. BG.
Somebody is somebody out there that can turn put aviators on Anthony Edwards in a Hawaiian shirt playing Great Balls of Fire. Not only that, but like when he catches fire in NBA games, can we play Great Balls of Fire at least?
That's hilarious. Again, but you're a Top Gun guy.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean,
like,
what are other Anthony Edwards options?
my point is,
Revenge of the Nerds. What doctor did he play on ER?
Joe, I don't think that the NBA fan, the quote unquote casual, is getting a deep cut Top Gun reference.
I mean, it's not a deep cut Top Gun. Top Gun 2 just came out.
Which I actually watched a movie with one of the guys from Top Gun 2 over the weekend.
Did you watch the movie with him and the chick from fucking
Sydney Sweeney? Anyone But You? Have you watched it?
No, but you know, it was causing all kinds of headlines because it was like she's cheating on her husband with him in this movie. And
oh, it did?
Yeah, it was like when they were filming it, it was like all over the tabloids because they were like, when they were like not on set, they're like hanging out and swimming in their bathing suits together and like cuddling, and everybody was like, they're definitely fucking.
Well, I actually thought of you watch it. Brittany and I watched it. She's obsessed with Glenn Powell because, of course, he's just like a Adonis body, good looking dude, charming. And of course, I was like, hey, man, Sydney Sweeney's, easy on the eyes too. And,
right.
Everybody talks about her rack. And so we're watching it though, but I thought of you because I was like, Brenda would pick apart. I can't shut up when I watch movies, and she hates that. Because I'm the guy who 5 minutes in, like, whoa, this is the premise?
Yeah.
Like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
He like, I'm not gonna give too much away. It's not, it's okay.
Andy not giving. What is this movie called?
I don't even remember the name.
Yeah.
Anyone But You.
Not giving anyone but you spoilers, just in case anybody wants to watch. Like,
I mean, it's these. Look, if you're gonna watch it with your lady or your guy, whoever, it's an R-rated rom-com. So, like, the PG-13 rom-coms don't do it for me. I said, okay, R-rated, I can go there with some sexual stuff and jokes and all that stuff that you get with an R-rated versus PG-13. But I didn't think it was that good. But the premise, even just the start, was it doesn't make sense to me. Like the whole movie, basically, she meets this guy at a coffee shop, Glenn Powell, and they spend the whole day together. And she stays the night, and she gets up in the morning and she leaves. That's the premise. But she's still in between guys when she got over her ex, and she didn't get his number, and then she calls her friend or something, and she's like, just go back there. She's still down the street, right? Go back. And then she goes back, the door's open, and he's talking to his buddy, and he downplays the night,
and she hears it,
and then she walks away, and then they don't run into each other for 2 years. And I'm like, this is so unrealistic. They both had a great night. You know this. We both know this. If you meet somebody you really like, you see him again.
Yeah.
And then when they run into each other again, they just hate each other.
Yeah.
And like, that's the premise.
And he hates her because she just never called him.
Yes.
And she hates him because
he's a fuckboy. Like she calls him a fuckboy.
Yeah. Here's my problem with Glenn Powell. And listen, I get he's a good looking guy, and he's like one of those guys, like he pops on the scene and they're like, let's put him in everything. Top Gun 2 was amazing. The Maverick character comes back in full force. You get what's the dude's name? Miles Teller as Goose's kid. Great. Has beef with Maverick because his dad, dies. Spoiler for the original Top Gun. But like the Jennifer Connelly character, I didn't really love that whole thing, but like Maverick needs like a chick, obviously.
Yeah.
He needs a chick. I didn't love like how some of that was played out, but like also that was just like for sure. Well, I mean, it wasn't a whole lot worse than the love interest in the original Top Gun. All the ancillary characters, like the nerdy guy who wears the glasses that they make fun of. And then of course I made fun of it when it came out, like the diversity fact. You got the female pilot, you got the black pilot, you got the Hispanic pilot, all this, blah, blah, blah. Great movie. Honestly, like one of the best sequels of all time. Loved it. Like I was very worried that, they're going to ruin Top Gun's legacy. The real reason it can't touch the original Top Gun though is Iceman was an elite frenemy. Like, you're on the same side, but you're enemies. I mean, maybe the most elite frenemy of all time. Val Kilmer, who's maybe the most underrated actor ever, because like when you look at, we've talked about this before, never really got his due as like an elite, but like constantly brings it. And in that kind of movie, like Val Kilmer didn't love Top Gun because he's like, it's kind of cheesy, but like also bought in because that's what he does, and was the elite villain frenemy.
Yeah.
Glenn Powell's like Iceman in the new, like, dude, I don't like, you could have not been in the movie and I wouldn't have given a shit. Like, he's barely, dude, wait, like I've seen Top Gun 250 times. Iceman still pisses me off. And Val Kilmer is one of my favorite actors ever. And I see Iceman and I still go, fucking Iceman. Just drinking like fucking little shot glass with ice in it to start the movie. Was that weird little mini rocks glass where he's like drinking ice water? Like, what are we doing? Look at his face, so punchable when he snaps his teeth at Maverick. The dyed blonde tips, flat top. Glenn Powell couldn't hold Iceman's fucking sunglasses while he goes and shoots down MiGs. Glenn Powell is to Val Kilmer as Tyrese Maxey is to Jalen Brunson.
I see the equivalent not making that the title. Pretty long.
Well, yeah. Why are we making this comparison? It's offensive to everybody involved.
Yeah.
Like, well, it's cool, you're cute, and you're young, but like, this guy is an ace pilot. He's the best of the best.
No, I'm not going to disagree at all with that. And it's, look, if you want to waste 90 minutes of your life picking apart again a plot where you're just like,
but does Sydney Sweeney get you through it?
She doesn't show her rack. Like, she gets naked, but there's no like actual frontal.
Which like you could always just go to Euphoria and just watch me get plowed.
Oh, not just Euphoria. Did you ever see the Amazon movie she does?
I've literally seen it only in like Twitter replies,
bro.
Like, people will just put like, oh, Sydney Sweeney doing SNL, and then some other person will just reply like, here's getting her plowed in an Amazon movie.
Dude, so I watched it. I didn't even know what it was about. Here's what's funny. I didn't even know. It's called The Voyeurs, and it came out in 2021. I'm saying I watched it like by myself. I didn't even know what I was watching.
I watched it by myself. What'd you do? Ask Alexa, play Sydney Sweeney naked movie.
No, dude, here's what's funny. I didn't even really know who Sydney Sweeney was. So this is 3 years ago. So I was just, this is when I'm living
suspect. This is the most suspect claim of all time. Ruther exclusively watches, 100% of Ruther's life is watching documentaries about the New England Patriots, their players and coaches. And then all of a sudden he found himself watching an Amazon movie from 2021 called Voyeurs.
No, I watched it in 2021.
He's like, oh, I watched the Tom Brady doc, and I watched the Aaron Hernandez doc. I watched the two Bills. I watched the Patriots documentary. And I just, I was just like bouncing around on Amazon, nothing to do. I was like, oh, what's this Voyeurs movie?
No, so here's I can actually tell you the backstory. This is the backstory. This is when I'm living at my
only
parents'.
Thing Ruther has watched in the last fucking 5 years are Patriots and or OJ documentaries.
Funny you say
Voyeurs from the Amazon movie from 2021, and weirdly, Sliver starring Sharon Stone and Billy Baldwin.
I watched Old Guys. I've watched a few movies. No, what I was going to say was, this is the setup. I'm in my parents' house. It's 2021. I'm in the I know exactly what happened. I was in the basement. I was probably a little stoned. And I'm flipping through, looking at different possible movies on all the streaming services. Netflix.
I just want to put one pause in it. Look how different your life is. You have a house with you're a baby mama and a daughter right now. After, it's not that long ago where you were just like weird parents' basement guy for like a year, where we were just like, is Andy like the whole dirtball community was like, is he okay? He has a whole house. Just every time we check in with him, he's like in his parents' basement, not doing anything, alone, watching Amazon softcore porn. This dude okay?
Well, I have come a long way. I appreciate that. And I actually think about that. I'm very, very grateful. So, yeah, I was sitting there, I was flipping through, see, my problem is, I don't know if you're one of those people. I have been knocked by her. You can't decide. You have to check Hulu. You have to check Amazon. You have to check Netflix. You have to check HBO. You have to check Apple. I'm one of those guys who wants to check all the services. And that was one of those nights where, no lie, I know Dirtballs are going to laugh. I had no clue really about her. I had no clue. Now, full disclosure, I watched season 1 of Euphoria, but it was also 2019. So 2 years later, to be honest, just like a lot was a blur. A lot happened in my life. A lot happened to the world. So I wasn't paying close.
She was a much smaller character on the first season.
100% she was. So I started watching it. And yeah, there are some graphic sex scenes. And funny story. Dirtballs are going to love this. You'll love this. I meet Brittany a few months later, and I was like, I think you'll like this movie. And then I rewatch Voyeurs again with Brittany, probably because I wanted to see the sex scenes again. It was my excuse. Hey, I think you're going to like this movie.
I love the idea that it was an Amazon movie too, because like Amazon loves to give you like the recommendations whenever you're on Amazon. So I love the idea of somebody watching Voyeurs. Like they know this is linked to an Andrew Ruther's Amazon Prime account, and they're like, customers who like Voyeurs also liked 64-ounce Lubriderm lotion. Add to cart? ?
I mean, look at the comments, by the way. The comments are hilarious right now. Ruther is good for another 2 to 3 more kids.
Wow.
Next comment, over under 2.5 more. Jesus, guys.
No way, Andy Ruther goes. Over under, I would say over under is 1.5 more kids.
It's 100% 1.5.
That's all. Ruther is good for another kid for sure. And then it's going to be Ruther's going to start looking at himself like, he's just like, he's going to be like a GM of a football team. And Ruther is going to be looking at himself like he's the aging quarterback. It's just like, how long do we really do this? Like, he's getting a little old. It's going to be like Tom Brady. Now I would say that there's a chance Ruther's like, all right, I'm Tom Brady. I'm 50. I can still do this. Let's get out one more. I'm 45. Let's get out one more. I mean, one more kid is a lock. I'd almost say it's a coin flip whether or not you're actively trying to have a kid right now. I would say there's a 50-50. Brittany's pregnant right now.
She's not pregnant.
Okay.
I'll tell you that much. I'll just say this. Would we both like to have another kid? An emphatic 100%.
Yeah. The one more kid's a lock. Then it's just going to be, Andy evaluating whether or not he's got it in him. And then that's always going to be the wife, baby mama factor. What the woman wants, the woman gets. So like, then it's like, does Brittany want another one? Like if Brittany's like, I'm out, 2's good. Andy Ruther takes it. Andy Ruther, Peyton Manning's and retires. If she pushes for it, then there's a potential of Andy signing with the Bucks and going for one more hurrah.
We'll see.
It's 1.5 is the obvious over under.
Yeah, I agree. It's the obvious, and I think a sibling would be nice for a little girl who gets her way too much. Better check yourself. You got to be checked.
Yeah.
And the only way you get the best, this having siblings, the best way you get checked is with siblings.
Yeah.
Because, you just checked your brother to start this show. We were laughing. We were laughing in his lobster face.
Oh, I mean, we were there. We were at Saki. We were at the hibachi last night, and the guy was spraying Saki. And I'm staying up here. Like I drove 5 minutes at the end of the night to my buddy's house. Back roads, dirt roads, places like roads. I've driven these roads literally unconscious before, so I was like, I'll be fine getting home. And so I'm taking Saki blasts. I'm drinking it out of the bag. I'm like, at one point there was a double gun into my mouth. There were double like a double blast in my mouth. And the guy kept calling me the Saki King. And I was like, Mikey, you're just going to let him call me the Saki King? He's like, I got to drive. And I was like, oh, to be the Saki Queen must hurt so much. It's got to hurt so much. He's like, I never should have made Lauren. I should have told Lauren she's driving. I'd murder you.
That's hilarious.
Then, of course, he's somehow still drinking beers like an hour later. And I was like, you're still drinking beers? I thought you were driving. He's like, well, it's not sake. It's different.
My favorite thing when it comes to drinking and then to sober up was always, I know we've talked about this. Just have a water. Yeah, you've been drinking all day. Just you drink water for the next hour. It totally sobers you up. I think that's how science works.
Yeah. I had an espresso last night. My sister, nice enough. She got rocking the little Italian Lavazza machine. Here's something I'd love the Dirtballs to weigh in on. If I have a cup of coffee at like 3 p.m., I'm going to be up all night. Somehow, if I have a nice espresso post dinner at like 9 p.m., it immediately like puts me to sleep. Like, what's the science on that? Is it just like it's just like the blast and crash?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the like how it biologically would affect you. Can we talk about the Suns for a quick minute?
Yeah. So Suns are done. Anthony Edwards, Goose is a superstar. Suns are getting broken up.
Well, what I find interesting is I feel like we've all forgotten they just made the finals a few years ago.
Yep.
And it was a different core.
Yep.
Now you still had Devin Booker.
Yep.
But my point is, this didn't work. This was a disaster. Let's just call it what it is. The adding Durant, the adding Bradley Beal, it just did not pan out. You're getting swept. You go from the finals to now you're getting swept in the first round.
The NBA, we had, and I would go so far as to say that the big three model really doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
It didn't even really work when LeBron did it in Miami. It really didn't work. Like you look at it, still took them time to figure out, like, you can't just have 3 max players take your whole thing, because look at what happened in 2011. Just like not enough role. The Mavs were built by having it was a role player bonanza. It was an entire roster of guys who knew their roles. Guys toward the end of their careers, or guys who were great at one thing specifically. Dirk as a scoring machine, passing out of the post to a gang of shooters. You have J. Kidd, who's like an aging point guard leader. You've got Tyson Chandler, defensive, man in the middle. To have come at that just max players and then just literally spare parts to fill out, it didn't really work. It only worked because they had LeBron. One of the 3 guys.
You're turning into a robot, Prano. It happened again. You're basically LeBron.
Am I better now?
No.
Oh.
We need to get some internet service down in Katona.
Oh yeah. And I was dealing with this yesterday.
Yeah. Now you're pretty. You mess with it, and I'll just keep the show going.
And I still robot-y?
Yeah, I mean, picture-wise, you're very pixelated. Now, audio, it seems like it's getting a little better. Audio, I'm not sure.
The question is, do I switch?
Okay, so you sound better audio. It's getting a little better. I agree with you real quick. I agree. The big three model really has not traditionally worked. The importance of a role player, multiple role players, I should say, when it comes to the playoffs is so vital for these teams. You know, we said that right when Beal signs them. Okay, so you have three scores? You have three scores. There's one basketball, man. What are you going to do with this?
But also to have one of those max players be a Bradley Beal.
Yeah, come on. What's his playoff history?
Your strategy in terms, like, as far as salary cap goes, that third max player better be somebody that washed out somewhere because they didn't get along with the coach or they didn't blah, blah, blah. Not just like, oh, it's Bradley Beal and he's never been able to drag the Wizards to anywhere of any consequence. Maybe we can just revitalize him. It's like, that's not how that's going to work.
Yeah.
You need, and the truth is, the big two is the big two and then fill out with role players is a way better strategy.
100%.
I mean, the teams, look, dude, it's Jokic, Murray, and elite role guys.
Yeah, for sure.
It's Tatum and Brown. And I guess, like, you could say Porzingis is in there now, but like Porzingis is a great example. Porzingis is what the idea of Beal is. It's like Beal was always healthy and fine and good. And what did he do? Porzingis is like, let's get him and hope he stays healthy.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then the Bucks. I want to talk about the Bucks. I mean, obviously you don't have Lillard or Giannis yesterday, but I know we've talked about this at length. I know we have. I have to say it again. Guys, Doc Rivers, he's not making anybody better. Like when the cards, when you're down and the cards are against you, and this is a prime example, you're missing Giannis the whole series. Now you're down two guys. Nobody expected them to win yesterday. I'm not talking about yesterday. I'm just saying he's not making them better. Erik Spoelstra gets the most out of his Heat team, guys. Whether he has Jimmy Butler and a bunch of cast-offs or whatever it is, or even winning one game without Jimmy Butler, Erik Spoelstra is a good coach. Doc is not a good coach. He does not maximize the value and talent of his team ever.
And since you brought up Erik Spoelstra, I saw a thing where, obviously a big part of the Twitter sphere is dunking on LeBron James. It has been his whole career. And it was like the audacity of people to claim LeBron James never had a good coach. Like what we need to give Erik Spoelstra credit for is he just kept getting better to the point where he's now an elite NBA coach. Doc Rivers came in. You could almost argue Doc Rivers kept getting worse.
He's the anti-Erik Spoelstra.
Yeah. Kind of surprising success early when he comes into coaching. Then you're like, oh, maybe Doc Rivers is a nice little coach. Comes to the Celtics. Isn't that good. Only wins because he has those guys. Blows another NBA Finals. And then proceeds to get worse and worse and worse and worse, and add to his resume 3-1 blown 3-1 leads after blown 3-1 leads after blown 3-1 leads, to the point where everybody was like, we're done with him, and he was podcasting with Bill Simmons, and then the Bucks are like, let's get Doc Rivers. It's like, dude, why didn't you guys just hire Bill O'Brien?
Yeah. No, I agree, man. It's just, it's one of those guys. I've actually never seen it in any sport. I don't know who to compare the amount of chances Doc's been given and the amount of series he's blown.
It's like if Mike McCarthy goes on to 3 more teams.
I was just gonna say, Mike. I mean, it's not even. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing to compare to. Maybe a baseball manager you could maybe think of.
Yeah,
that'd be the only guy you could maybe pull.
But you can say, like, Buck Showalter, who was obviously with the Mets most recently, is like, oh, he never got done. But he turned teams around. He wasn't like brought in. I mean, so many teams he took from being like meh to like the verge of a championship. And then they would be like, oh, we replaced him, which, by the way, is a whole different thing in baseball. Like developing a team, developing chemistry over 162 games and blah, 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 blah. It's like, what's Doc Rivers? Doc Rivers just handed 2 NBA superstars. He was handed 3. He had Dwight Howard at one point. Like, he's just like handed. I mean, he was handed Kawhi and PG.
Yeah.
He was handed Joel Embiid in the process.
Well, let's talk about his former team. Who do you like in this Clippers-Mavs series? We're all knotted up. That's the best series going right now.
I mean, I think I like the Mavs.
Okay.
And I mean, Kawhi Leonard, like the woulda, shoulda, coulda, what could have beens of Kawhi Leonard. I mean, nice, Paul George showing, but they're just too hit and miss with their stars. And now the thing when you talk about the Mavs is like, oh, Kyrie has just like been such a hit and miss player his whole career. But Kyrie, like when he was with LeBron, is a bonus. Like, you have Luka. Now, I think the Clippers are just so much of a deeper team, but I think that Luka being head and shoulders the best player in the series, not to mention the fact that the Clippers are the Clippers. But what's funny is the Ty Lue, Jason Kidd, like coaching wise, you're like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Ty Lue, unlike Doc Rivers, like continues to grow as an NBA coach. But at the same time, I think it's gonna be a good series, and I would love it to go 7, but I'll take the Mavs.
And then I think it'll get real interesting next round then.
Yeah.
I always forget. Do they reseed?
No.
So like a T-Wolves Nuggets, that's an interesting matchup. Obviously, you have the champ and you have the young up-and-comers.
Yeah. It will get interesting. I mean, listen, I was proven wrong in that the Sun series would even be a series. I just think Jokic has Jalen Brunson's craftiness while being 7 feet tall. He does it so simply. He takes over a game by not taking over a game. Jokic is one of the great players I've seen in my lifetime. I just think but it'll be fucking super fun. And then obviously, the potential OKC, maybe Mavs series, let's say the Clippers get through, even that. Like, now you have Shea in like a revenge series against the Clippers. Again, I think the Mavs probably get through, but I do not like the Clippers' chances if they get through of SGA just being like, remember when you fucking traded me so you could have this?
Well, again, this big 3 stuff is just not working.
And then in the East, obviously, it seems like, as tough a series as Miami will try to give them, Boston will probably get through. The Knicks, I know, I'm sure there's Sixers fans out there. This series isn't over. It's over, guys. Series is over. If the Pacers somehow escape, I mean, I didn't, again, as like a Knicks fan, I wanted the Heat. I wanted the the Celtics. I wanted the Pacers, because it's like those are all the teams that we have the same. Now the Sixers have become like, I'm like, great. Let's reignite the Philly-New York rivalry. This is amazing. So we get the Sixers. I would love to get an Indiana Pacers in the second round. Knicks versus Hicks. We'll see all the Reggie Miller highlights. We'll see all that stuff. Like, let's run that whole thing back. And then, of course, the 2-2, it's 2-2 now, right? The Cavs Magic series, which is, that's become a fun 4-5. Paolo, probably like the closest thing to what the Knicks have with Jalen Brunson, where it's like he's their dude, and now they're looking for other guys to like who's going to help him, but he's so fucking young. So like, what a cool future that Orlando has to look forward to. But also, if you get to the second round, like this is where the Knicks were a couple years ago. Like you get to the second round with a young superstar and lose to a Celtics team that was the class of the East. Like this is a great path to be on.
It's a building block for sure.
Yeah. And now plus there's what comes with the Cavs. If the Cavs do it, you've got Donovan Mitchell. Is he there for a little bit? Is he moving on? So many of these series, when you talk about the Suns with Durant and Booker, the Cavs with Donovan Mitchell, the Sixers with Embiid, so many of these series, just especially in the first round, because you really can't talk yourself into, oh, we lose a first round series. We're building something here. What happens to all of these guys? It really, really shakes up the face of the league with some of these guys potentially moving. I mean, a Devin Booker moving somewhere?
Well, that's why NBA offseason is always such a big thing now.
Because look at the Knicks. No one thought it, but like one player can change it all.
For sure.
Now, we didn't talk Lakers Nuggets. Obviously, we've all kind of got the Nuggets moving on, but I just, not to come back to like sucking LeBron James's dick and whatever, but it's just like,
but you're about to suck LeBron James.
No, first of all, Anthony Davis, thank you for showing up. 23 rebounds, 24 and 23, 24 points, 23 rebounds, I think was his stat line. Like, the big two model there. But the bottom line is, could you have put yourself in a better position to not have to face the Nuggets in the first round if you have a better regular season? Yeah, you could have. Like, being a 5 seed and getting a chance to play the Clippers would have been a totally different outcome. If they had been a 5 and gotten a 4 Clippers and then have a potential of going against an OKC team in the second round, who they match up very well against, this is an entire different Lakers outlook, and that's the thing about the NBA, which is like your draw. But the Jokic is one of the great players I've seen in my lifetime. He's in his prime. He's surrounded by great role players, including Jamal Murray, who comes, who's kind of like the new Dame Lillard in that he appears in the playoffs and can absolutely go off. And but down 3-0, facing elimination, and everybody was roasting LeBron James at the end of the day, it's just basketball quote, totally taken out of context, because what they wanted him to do was throw his teammates under the bus, and he refused. And he was just like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. And they were putting it side by side with Kobe down 3-0 in the Mavs series in 2011 and saying, like, Kobe's just like, we're going to fucking fight. I'll leave my soul, my heart, and my soul. I'll leave 3 outer layers of my Mamba skin on the court to do everything. LeBron James won game 4. Kobe lost game 4 by 40. What the fuck are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about here?
No, I mean, I agree, man. Yeah, it's gonna get interesting for sure. I mean, it already is, but it'll definitely continue that way. So we had a little NFL draft over the weekend. Did I lose you again? Did I lose Prano?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Am I lost?
Well, you're a little delayed looking, but that's all
I
right.
know.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
we'll get through this.
So these dirt, can we run some new cables down these dirt roads up here?
Yeah. So what is the thing they use? Starlink?
Yeah. Can we get internet here like they're giving it to the Ukraine?
Here's my thing on the draft, and I know I always say this. I'm not one to sit here and grade, nor do I know the players well enough. But I do want to say this. It blows my mind. It blows my mind where we're at with these quarterbacks. Based on statistics in history, you are going to miss so hard. And these teams, in my opinion, you reach. They just, I don't know. It's like they swing so hard wanting a franchise changing quarterback when the truth is it's just so hard to get one of these guys. I can't believe 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first however many picks.
Well, to be fair, in theory, I agree with you. Let's talk about each guy. I think Caleb Williams will be good, and I think Caleb Williams will be good for the Bears.
He's the only one I think is
Agreed?
A possible lock.
I think Daniels, you can't pass on Daniels there if you're Washington. Washington has been a quarterback black hole. You've got a guy who on paper is your modern day NFL quarterback that he's the blueprint for what modern successful quarterbacks are. You're the Patriots. You obviously need a quarterback, and you got a guy that kind of fits more of the Patriot model than maybe the first 2 guys. So you take him there. That's where then it was, is somebody going to reach for JJ McCarthy? And feels like no one did. And then JJ McCarthy gets to go into a great situation with a great receiver on a team that, in my opinion, has always overvalued their shitty quarterback and overpaid him. So now you have everything that I said the Vikings should have, which is you should have a guy that can give you 90% of Kirk Cousins, production at 10% of his value. And then everybody's freaking out because Penix gets taken by the Falcons. Maybe the Falcons are like, hey, we gave money to Kirk Cousins because we're stupid, but we should have a backup plan because he's still fucking Kirk Cousins. Listen, the Falcons thing is
That's
dumb.
terrible, though, Joe.
It's dumb on
so
paper.
Dumb.
It's so dumb on paper.
What's dumb on anything? You just paid a guy $100 million. You're drafting a quarterback 8th. Also, you're drafting. Okay, let's talk about him for a minute. Again, I don't watch enough college football. Here's what I know, though. You're older. You've had multiple injuries. Now, did I enjoy the GIF that was out there, or no, the meme? It's the dog going. You've seen it, right? The dog on the couch going, and it was something like when the dog, or they're maybe in characters, the dog, when I see Atlanta take a black left-handed quarterback in the draft. Michael Vick reference right there. But look, I just here's the reason I'm bringing all this up. And I know this isn't easy to do. The models have been out there, though. The Patriots' early models with Brady, the Niners the last 5 years, they went to a Super Bowl with Jimmy G. They went to a Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. My point is, if you build a good roster and get a quote-unquote game manager, build up your roster. I think too many of these guys go for home runs.
But those top 3 guys, right? Do you fault any of those teams for taking Daniels or May or Williams?
Definitely not Williams. And I don't say I fault them. I just think.
Listen, I mean, the Giants didn't reach for a QB. I think they're doing it right. They're trying to build. They're like, we can always plug in the quarterback later. I like it. I like the Giants draft pick. Now, I hope that the Giants don't wake up a year and a half from now and realize a young, talented black wide receiver is acting like a young, talented black wide receiver and trade him for the 5th round pick because they don't like that he started a rap career next offseason. But, that's a whole issue I have with my own management. But those top 3 guys went to top 3 guys. You could almost argue that the Minnesota Vikings are doing what they're supposed to do, which is I know it's a 1st round guy, but they've got a pretty good roster in place, and now maybe they got a game manager.
McCarthy at 10th. I don't hate McCarthy at 10th.
Right.
It's not the worst.
So really, the only one we hate is Penix, but also at the same time, both of us think Kirk Cousins is overrated. So also, you kind of do need a quarterback there. Although doing both of them is dumb. It's dumb.
But logically,
it's
again, I'm saying logically, based on the past, you're actually only going to hit on a franchise quarterback a small percentage of the time. I mean, that's the truth.
Right.
Like the guys who can quote unquote come in and instantly when they start and be a game changer is so minimal.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I just like take the Broncos, for example.
That's the last one. That's the 6th of 6.
So you're drafting Bo Nix 12th. You've been hovering around 500 the last 2 years. Why not just get a great player there? Maybe wait. Sometimes you got to wait a year.
Seems like the most suspect of all the picks. If you take the lunacy that is Penix going to a team that already just signed Kirk Cousins. Like, I don't necessarily, like, in a vacuum, I don't hate the Falcons taking Penix there, but I do hate it if they just signed Kirk Cousins. But if you take that combo out, the Knicks at 12 to the Broncos, which a lot of people were calling for, does seem crazy. Like, how many times are you guys going to fucking whiff on a quarterback? And maybe it's that you're not whiffing. You're just not putting them in a position to win because you don't have the talent around them on the offensive side in terms of, protecting them. Running the ball. They've had receivers and you've had a defense, but you haven't had a offensive game plan. And you haven't had, get some offensive line help.
Well, and every team's different. That's why it says, where are you now? Like, dude, you know who this is why the Chiefs are where they're at. They make minor moves. They trade up to get a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like
who Patrick Mahomes will turn into the new Tyreek Hill.
That's my point. You get a speedy receiver. That is a win now, smart franchise move where you trust your talent, which is your quarterback, to turn somebody into something. Whereas a lot of these franchises, in my opinions, they don't understand the win now, like the Bills. I don't know what they're doing.
Right. And we talked about this, but I think that this idea that you can't draft for need, that you should draft the best, I think you should always draft for need unless you need a quarterback, because if you need a quarterback, you probably need something else. There's not a lot of teams that are just a quarterback away.
Yeah. Like if you're
like the idea that the Giants were going to reach to get a quarterback because they need a quarterback. It's like the Giants need a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's my point is I don't reach if I'm a team hovering the Super Bowl, I'll just toss out a bunch of AFC teams. If I'm obviously a Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, I'm drafting the most surefire thing, because all those teams also have quarterbacks that can make me get to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not reaching on my picks. I'm just not. And like a team like the Bengals did that all throughout the draft, and I just laugh, and that's a whole other thing, in my opinion. And maybe those guys turn out to be good, but it's like I don't reach on an O lineman that has 8 starts with an upside. I don't know if you saw that. Nick Saban was so critical. Yeah. He was like, dude, you're drafting a guy where the ceiling is so high, but you've had 8 career starts in college. You need to protect Joe Burrow now.
Yeah.
Not tomorrow, not next year, at this very minute. Maybe that guy turns into a stud. But that's my point. Same way with Buffalo. You need receivers now. You can't let Kansas City step ahead, draft somebody. I'm at where I was at. Again, I don't know the draft, but I don't really care. But even just seeing I'm at the same spot I was. Dude, it doesn't change anything. It's Kansas City's. It's theirs until somebody takes it away.
Yeah. Well, I think we all agree with that, but when you look at, obviously the top of the draft makes the most noise. I thought the top of the draft went like it was the most kind of reasonable top of the draft we've had in a while. It's like, yep, that's who's supposed to go there. Yep, that's who's supposed to go there. Yep, that's who's supposed to go there. Okay, there. Like, there was all this talk that JJ McCarthy was going to hop into the top. Seems like that was all smoke and mirrors. People trying to like get other teams to trade, shit like that. The top of the draft kind of made sense.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the big moves in Atlanta and Buffalo for quarterbacks are the only ones that seem really like, interesting. But like, you're never going to be able to convince, like, GMs don't want to lose their job because they refuse to draft a quarterback. And then they like, that's a guy being like, well, I'm the Falcons GM. Arthur Blank was like, never again are we going into the fucking season with the fucking suspect quarterback. He's like, fine, here's 2.
Bro, I love it. You know how I felt last week, and I stand by it. After Arthur Blank, again, in my opinion, just brushed over Bill Belichick for Raheem Morris. I hope they lose every game. I don't know why, but I feel personally disrespected. I just do. Like, it's the best.
Well, that's good. Like, you know what? That means Falcons fans are going to be our new Lions fans, because, as you know, I will obviously be rooting against everything that Kirk Cousins ever does as maybe the most overrated professional athlete since fucking Carmelo Anthony or Derek Jeter. But
also, I don't know if you saw the clips or whatever was going on social media. They're like, Arthur Blank seems surprised. Dude, you're the owner. You're surprised who your team drafted.
Yeah.
You fucking dinosaur. These dinosaur ass owners, I'm getting sick of you guys. You old ass motherfuckers. You're surprised?
With his John Waters pencil thin mustache.
You own the team. That'd be like me walking into my house and there's people living here. I'm surprised. This is my fucking house. What do you mean you're surprised? Do you not talk to your GM? I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, that's for a guy who loves the NFL as much as me. The top of my list, Prano, is these owners now.
Yeah,
like who I can't stand. And after Robert Kraft, all that stuff again with Belichick, and then here locally, dude, I just laugh. It all leaked here in Cincinnati. The Bengals want the county, because they're going to do some upgrades, right? Because the stadium at this point, 24 years old. So whatever. You probably need some upgrades. They want the county to pay for $300 million, and the Bengals offered $50 million. And I'm just like, fuck you to the core. Like, again, this isn't just a Bengals issue. We saw what Kansas City wanted. And I just laugh at these guys. You want $300 million of my money, because I'm a taxpayer. I live in the city. I live in the county. You want $300 million of my money while you give $50 million? Nope. To any of these owners. I just, it's like there's such scum when we know what they make. And so I hope the Falcons lose every game. And now I hope the Patriots lose every game.
Yeah.
I am fighting for Bill Belichick.
I love it. I feel like Bengals ownership is responsible for my Wi-Fi.
They probably don't even have Wi-Fi down there.
Ethernet cables at Cincinnati Stadium.
Yeah, so you can look up. Here's something real quick for the Dirtballs. Did I not put this on the draft or on the rundown? I think I have it somewhere. But I was curious, Joe.
I have to take a piss so bad, Andy.
You
so
take
I'm
a
gonna let
piss.
you do whatever this is for the Dirtballs.
Yeah, you take a piss. So while I'm going on my owner rant, guys, for the league that I always support. So maybe I'm hypocritical, but I have to rant about this. So these are the profits. This is not the gross revenue. This is what they actually earned. And this is the most updated that I could find from the 2022 NFL season. So this is after they pay the players. This is after they pay the staff. They pay for stadium stuff, blah, 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 blah. These are the profits of all 32 NFL teams. This is what they make. The least profitable team was the Buffalo Bills at $65 million. Again, 2022 year. The most profitable, no surprise, the Cowboys made $460 million. Let's see what the Bengals made. In 2022, the Bengals made, this is in 1 year, they made $137 million. So the Brown family, who solely owns the team in 2022, made $137 million. That's what that family is going to take home for 1 year. And they want us to pay this money. Let's look at the Chiefs. Again, wanted upgrades. The Chiefs in 2022 actually, surprisingly, were not as profitable. Still made $119 million. But again, it's just 1 year.
Yeah.
So I was just showing Joe, because the most up-to-date version is 2022 season. The least profitable team was the Bills, made $65 million after all expenses. So again, my point I'm just making is that these owners who want you to pay for stuff don't ever agree when you're making, I mean, your Giants in 2022 was the third most profitable team. Made $215 million.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Joe, you multiply that by 5 years, the owners are making $1 billion profit.
Yeah. And that's what, you could build a stadium.
You know, my buddy made a great point, and he goes, we were talking about this Saturday. He goes, I just don't get it. He goes, any other business, Andy, any business wants to take care of their, like, if you're this profitable, if you're making $100+ million a year, you're like, I'm going to take care of my staff, or I'm going to do upgrades. It's the cost of doing business, because you're just making so much money. But why is the NFL one of the few who don't? Now you have exceptions, right? You have like Stan Kroenke is like, I'm just going to build a stadium with my own money. You do have those guys, but a lot of them are just like, no, F the fans, F my players. We're not going to have running toilets. On that note, I did re-up my Sunday ticket. YouTube was offering $100 off if you did it before May 15th. I took advantage of that deal. So I'll see you NFL owners for another full season of Sunday ticket down here in Cincinnati.
That's the easiest sell ever. Andy Ruther is the easiest sell for Sunday ticket. They could be like, you can get an additional $5 off if you renew for the next 10 years. Right now, he's like, all right, fuck it, fine.
You want to hear something funny? I thought in my head I wasn't going to renew when this season ended.
Why?
I don't know. I just was like, I really like spending time with Isla, and the weekends are the most fun now that she can walk, and I love doing stuff outside with her. Now I'm obviously going to still watch a lot of games. How quickly that changed. That was February. We're not even into May. I saw an ad for $100 off if you renew now. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sign up right now.
Yeah.
You got time for...
I was just about to say when I came back, I was like, we can do another 2 hours now. There was a minute there where I was like, this podcast needs to end. I need to take a piss. And then I was like, I just can't. I was like, you can't hold it. Now I'm like, great. I'm here the rest of the day. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let's do a couple calls before we do that.
Okay.
Last thing on the NFL. They are probably going to go to 18 games, which we saw. Roger Goodell talked about that during the draft.
And they're going to let them wear the preseason helmet caps.
They're going to let them wear the preseason helmet caps, which I doubt any player will do simply because they're ego.
Yeah.
I couldn't see any player doing that.
It'll be like the one guy that everybody makes fun of, like the one dude on the Mets a couple years ago who took a fastball or a line drive off the head. So he started wearing the like soft helmet cap.
Like John Olerud.
Yeah.
Right. So I doubt players will do it, even though they probably should, to protect their brains more. And if they go to 18 games, they would push back the Super Bowl to, I think, President's Day weekend. So,
which has always been like, why aren't we doing this? Give the Super Bowl Monday should be a holiday.
Yeah. Also, if you do 18 games, make 2 buys.
Yeah. And Goodell coming out with like, we don't need to play preseason games. Love that too.
Yeah. I agree.
Then we're going to get to the point where 1,000-yard rush will be if you rush for 36 yards per game.
That is funny. Dude, OJ. Let's talk about OJ for OJ rushed for 2,000 yards on a 14-game season.
That's why OJ had brain damage and killed his wife and a waiter.
My girlfriend discovered the OJ 30 for 30.
By the way, did I send you the TikTok about the lady like breaking down the Jason Simpson thing?
No.
Oh my God. I got to send it to you. The evidence that Jason Simpson was like the actual one who did it is just like growing every day.
Did it or was involved?
Did it. And that OJ took the fall for him, basically.
So that would have been his stepmom?
Yes.
So OJ's son, Jason, the evidence is there.
You want me to send this to you now?
Yeah, I'm not going to watch it now.
Okay. I'll send it to you after that. It's at least 2 minutes long.
The evidence that he killed Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman. God damn it, Brano. Your fucking internet is killing me.
I know. And actually,
you're back to being a robot, man. Fucking Starlink. We need it. We need some Starlink over here in Katona. Make Prano visible again. Do we want to do 2 calls while you try to figure this out? Why don't I play a call? This is a great one while you try to figure this out. I hope you can hear this. Ski Dog called back again, and Ski Dog is my new favorite Dirty Sports character. This Ski Dog call, like the first one, had me cracking up. Great call by our guy, Ski Dog.
What's up, Joe and Andy? It's your boy, Ski Dog, calling you from an undisclosed location in beautiful Southern California. Can't say exactly where, because I don't need any bitches hitting me up for child support. It's Saturday night, and in Lit Fam, I got some joints rolled and some fat lines of cocaine all lined up on my table, ready to go. On my wall behind me is my beautifully framed mural of a lovely tatted up Marilyn Monroe in a Kobe jersey. While I rock my Dennis Rodman Pistons jersey and sandals and sunglasses. Oh yeah. Why Rodman? Because we both like to party, man. And sometimes we both like to put on some nail polish with a pretty Jess and fuck some nice North Korean hoes. But I'm calling to educate the Dirtball fam on what the Philly special really is. Because it ain't a football play. No. The Philly special is when you pick up a dirty Philly hoe at a Wawa and you use the grease from your Philly cheesesteak as lube to fuck that bitch, man. Now, she lets you fuck her ass. It's called the tush push, just mind you. Hey, Joe, I'm going to take you up on that offer about partying in your green room, man. We going to get wild. We definitely going to get wilder than that shirtless bitch, Bert Chrysler. That's for damn sure, man. That asshole sounds like he sells used cars or some shit. Anyways, boys, stay dirty. Ski Dog. Ow, 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 ow!
Amazing. Absolutely.
I came in halfway through, but I feel like I got the.
Yeah, you're still like how you were. You haven't improved. You're blurry. You're pixelated. Well, it was an amazing call, Ski Dog. Whoever you are, I'm glad that you're looking to party with Prano. I can give a tip on Ski Dog. I hope he doesn't care, because it's a big county. He's in Orange County. That's all I'm going to say. Obviously, there's millions of people in Orange County, California. But Ski Dog is a Southern California local.
Okay.
You need to go back and listen to the full call.
I heard a good portion of it.
The Philly special.
I did hear that. That was fantastic.
You put it in the butt. It's the tush push. Well, let's try to get one more call out. We have somebody responding to you, a first-time caller.
Am I back now? Am I a little bit?
You're back. You're back.
Okay, let's go.
But I just want to get through this, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Okay, first time caller responding to me. Is it about Philly shit?
It's about Philly shit, but they're not Philly people.
Okay.
So, anyway.
Hey, Joe and Andy. Long time listener, first time caller. Joe, I've DM'd you a couple times. I'm the Padres fan who just graduated from Boulder. Anyway, I'm calling out Joe real quick. Just because, look, I have no dog in this fight. I'm a Lakers fan. And, I don't give a shit about the Knicks or the Sixers. But I got to call you out real quick. You called out Sixers fans for saying that they're pussies for complaining about the refs. You're the one who literally doxed an umpire. I mean, it was pretty savage, but you doxed that umpire. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I got no dog in that fight, by the way. I'm a Lakers fan. I mean, we're down bad, but I'm just saying, kind of a pussy. You got, you're got a double standard here. Love you guys, but Joe, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad this is brought up. I'm actually very glad this is brought up because
We really got to fix you because you're again.
Christ.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna work because you're pixelated and it's robotic again.
I would leave and come back, but I feel like it's just a connection.
I think we just have a connection issue.
So I try it again. Do I try to switch?
Let's just try it again. One last try. Whatever you think.
Am I coming clear now? No.
It's not the best. So he's referring to Adam Hamari, the Major League Baseball umpire.
Correct. So, Andy, can you hear me?
It's not. Yeah, we can't do it like that.
I'm switching things. I'm switching. Hope this is better. I've just switched. I saw a blink. I've switched.
Okay, let's. Do you have any Wi-Fi or do you have any phone? It's probably not good cell service. Like this, what's
It's
crazy?
not the best. It's not the best cell service either.
This was crazy to me. It's 2024, man.
I know. I should have just. Luckily, I'll be back in LA after this. But I was gonna say this maybe I should have done this from my sister's house because this Wi-Fi here is poor. It was killing me yesterday. He's got streaming television. I was watching Knicks Sixers on streaming TV. It's a disaster.
Okay, well, how about you try to respond and we'll get through this if we can.
I'm clear right now.
Right now, you are. So
okay, let's get through this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad this came up. This is actually the exact same issue as what's going on in the Sixers-Knicks series. Sixers fans are complaining about calls in games, fouls, not fouls, travels, not travels, turnovers, all this stuff. But the ball's out of bounds. This is the exact same thing as what's happening in the Mets. What the Knicks fans are complaining about in this series is that somebody went out of their way to actually purposefully hurt a Knicks player, and the league is doing nothing about it. This isn't about travel or not travel. This isn't about a ball going out of bounds. This is about the league doing something about a player from Philly actively trying to hurt a Knicks player and getting protection from the NBA. That is the exact same situation as the Adam Hamari situation, where a player formerly of Philly actively went out of his way to hurt Ruben Tejada, and then the league, via Adam Hamari, the home plate umpire, protected Chase Utley in a game where Noah Syndergaard went after him and tried to throw at him. This has nothing to do with balls and strikes, out of bounds or not out of bounds, fouls or not fouls. Did the guy get the shot off before the buzzer? The difference is I get angry when leagues, umpires, referees, executives, whoever protect players who actively try to hurt someone. I played sports for a very, 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 very long time, both competitively and recreationally. And I can no longer play many of the sports I recreationally played. I don't play softball anymore. I don't play basketball anymore. I don't play volleyball anymore because I hurt my knee. Snowboarding. Imagine I couldn't play it anymore because somebody hurt me on purpose. Chase Utley, Joel Embiid. Chase Utley hurt a guy on purpose, and then Adam Hamari protected the guy who did it. This is not about fucking balls and strikes. And if you don't know the difference, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
Rapid fire, Joe Prano, right there.
No one in this Knicks series is complaining about the referees calling fouls. We're pissed off at the alligator rolled by fucking ankle.
Let me translate that for everybody who just got him pixelated and robotic again. They're pissed off about Joel Embiid alligator rolling the ankle of Mitchell Robinson. No, it's been fun. I'll tell you what, you are definitely off the grid again. And I might have to just wrap this up. I can see I pixelated annoyed Joe. I'll close it up, Joe. I'll close it up. Bye. Guys, I'll speak for Joe. If you want to see him live, all his shows are at joeprano.com. I'll pull it up here on the bottom of the screen. You can see him. I believe, I think, let's see how good my memory is from earlier in the show. I believe he'll be at the Stand tonight or tomorrow. Tonight, he'll be at the Stand. Tomorrow, he'll be live at Gotham for their Comedy Juice. And then Wednesday, I believe, he'll be back at the Stand. Those are all available at joeprano.com. All his live shows. So just go there. I think you're actually back now. But
I'm back. 6 and 5, bitch.
I can't keep doing this. Real quick thing, guys, because I put this out for everybody today on YouTube. I have been giving the Substack subscribers, both free and paid, the YouTube link. So again, I don't know why you wouldn't want to subscribe for free. I'm not asking you to pay right now. You can pay. We love when you pay, but subscribe to Substack. Then you get all the stuff for free. And a lot of the free stuff is fun stuff that we post that might not even be the podcast. Might be a fun picture Joe or I came across or an old video. So just subscribe for free. It's all there. And I've kind of had a little writer's bug. I might start posting some things.
Let's fucking go.
Like top 10 list or whatever.
Get
back to my writing roots. And then
I'll do it, Andy.
I was going to say,
energy.
I was going to nudge you. I think we should start posting some writing stuff.
Fucking love it, Andy.
And that'll probably most likely all be free. So I like how there's a lot of options on that platform. So please subscribe on Substack. We'd appreciate it. And thank you to everybody who has subscribed, and also extra thanks to anybody who's paid. All right, guys, that is our show. We got through it. Have a great start to your week. We'll be back on Thursday. Hopefully Starlink will be joining us to get us.
And Andy, you'll wrap it up, but I'm going to say, and just like Joel Embiid always says,
condoms are for pussies. Had to. Stay dirty.